Hello everyone, welcome to the Great Internet Circus. And today, in our third episode, the topic is unfiltered conversation in the digital world. Now, we all are aware that how the communication landscape has changed. And on that note, I wanted to ask you, Trisha, did you receive my letter? I sent you 15 days ago, I guess.
I did receive it, but it was just a hi. I mean, you could have literally texted me that, like, what's up with you, girl?
Well, I was just trying to practice traditional ways of communication, but if you don't like it,
I think it's a little inconvenient because by the time we exchange pleasantries, our next phase of life would start. So, so yeah, maybe we should stick to what we have right
whatever.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, what do you think
exactly.
about
But
it?
but yeah, I think we should I should just be able to say hi to you within seconds. But that makes me think about the times when we already had the ways of communication limited to letters and everything. Now, how do you fit everything at once in a letter, right? It's just I think it must be an art to do that.
I
And
know,
and
I
and
know.
fast
I,
forward to today's age, God, it's
It's crazy. It's actually crazy. And you were like brave enough to give it a try. I don't remember the last time I wrote a letter. I think the only time we do write letters is like when we have to stand apart for someone or need something to cherish. Otherwise, I treat starred messages as letter now. Like if I want to remember a sweet message, I would just star it on my WhatsApp. I can't print and keep it. So, but yeah, your
yeah.
hi letter, I think I'm gonna keep it. It's very special for me.
Well, of course, because that's how the future is going to remember us. Oh, historical thing where they just wrote hi with their own hands. God.
Own hands, not
Yeah,
typing.
right.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
very true. You know, your letter actually made me think about like how, this is how we got to this conversation because you tried sending me a letter which just said hi, and that made us discuss that, oh, how much has communication changed, how much the conversations have
Exactly.
changed, which is unbelievable. There was a time where telephone was everything. Having a landline was the best thing, like the most
Yeah.
prestigious thing, and now landline is nowhere to be seen. Right.
Yeah.
So, can you like explain more? Like, you got that idea, and now that you have experienced it also, how you've done it before. So, can you like explain the whole journey of communication and how we have reached this point?
Well, I'd like to say that sending just one letter does make me an expert in the traditional ways of communication. But yeah, I think going over the history, we can see that, oh, at one point, sending one message to the other region was the hardest thing. You had to use humans to send a letter,
Yeah,
right? Like
messengers. Yeah,
physically, kings had their own postmen and women. I
yeah.
hope they had women.
I
Yeah.
doubt, but yeah, I wish. Yeah,
Yeah, but they had their own private people to send letters, right? And then came the whole pigeon thing, the raven thing. And
yeah,
then we had actual post system, post office system. And
exactly.
then comes the fax, then comes the telegram, and the best invention, thanks to Graham Bell, for the telephone, which is, I guess, a beautiful thing that has happened in the history. And
Truly.
and I remember, when I was very little, I don't exactly remember the details, but people just had to go out and find an STD booth, right?
Right,
and
right.
and then stay in the line and wait for their number, which was, of
Yeah,
course, if you imagine it, if you think about doing it now, wow, people will die of impatience.
that's so, so true, so
Exactly.
true. So
So I think the whole way of communication has changed pretty much 180 degrees since the day we started.
that's
And
actually true.
yeah, do you remember your childhood? How we used to communicate, right? And how did that change for you?
So carrying forward the joke, as you can see, yoga and I backgrounds are different because we are from a different generation. So
Yeah, she's just a kid, guys.
हाँ ये कर लो पहले
Just a kid.
So, no, Yog, I did not have to write letters or wait for a really long time. By the time I was in second, third grade, email was already there, you know? So I was that annoying kid in the family who would email everybody like good morning, good night. Like I remember this one email very specifically where I emailed my uncle that today I got up, I brushed my teeth, I took a shower at this time, and he was very patiently replying also, right? And all my cousins are quite elder to me, so I would spam their emails that Bhaiya, why are you not replying? Bhaiya, please reply. Bhaiya, tell me how you are. Bhaiya, I'm doing this. So I would just spam their emails with weird facts, like you know how facts run in our
Mm,
family WhatsApp group. I was
mm.
that group for my cousins. I was
God.
the embodiment of family WhatsApp groups annoying the shit out of everybody. So that was me. So I think it was a very big deal for me that I had an email ID, and I don't know, but I did not qualify for it because of age restriction. But my sister, she
Mm,
used to be on Orkut,
mm,
and Orkut was very famous at that time. But like you know, the new kids would not relate. But Orkut had no concept of privacy. If I want to send a message to Yogita, it goes on my wall. Everybody can see that message. That was the concept of Orkut, right? So I guess you all
that's
can
terrifying.
imagine exactly that is
Yeah.
terrifying. There was no concept of privacy, and you guys can imagine like how many affairs were caught by parents because of Orkut. It used to be a very
Come on.
blasphemous it used to be a very blasphemous website. So yeah, this was my experience, and as and when we grew old, I think we had phones and everything. But the best part was having an email ID and emailing all your cousins and knowing that you're in touch with them. Like you don't have to wait for a phone call or anything. You can message them and they can reply. So that was my experience. So Yogita, like you've studied in boarding school, right? It's a very different experience compared to a day boarder. You're kind of in a different world, in a different ecosystem. So how was it for you to communicate with the people outside of your little world?
First of all, you knew that about my hostel thing?
Yes, go
Guess
ahead.
we really are friends now.
Yeah, I guess so.
Thanks to the internet.
Oh, by the way, one
Mm.
second, I would like to tell everyone, I always knew that she was in a boarding school, but I never knew she was in a co-ed boarding school. I always thought that she was in a girls, but yesterday I got to know it was co-ed. So I guess
God.
either you are really bad at sharing or I'm not a good listener. We'll debate about that later. Probably
We won't
it's
have to.
the
Yeah, it's
former.
the
It's
later
the
one.
former. No, no, it's a former. Okay, fine.
Go on.
So,
Everyone knows except you. Must be something. Yeah. So going back to my hostel is God. That's everything for me because it was a different world. It was a different, completely different ecosystem, as you said. And I remember when I left for hostel, I was, I never really used a phone or something. I used to borrow my father's phone, but
hmm.
I didn't use mine. So I went there without phone, without any means of communication. And then I realized when I went there, that there's no everyday phone or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't just wake up thinking, oh, I'll call my parents today.
Yeah.
I had to wait for weekend, and I had to stand in a line of crying girls. I want to go home to just get to
Oh.
the phone and call my mother. And then I remember it wasn't yesterday, right? So
Mm.
throughout the week, I used to collect coins or keep it with me. 4 coins, coins. That's it. And I just stand in line and call my mother or father, just one of them, usually my mother. So it was Sunday, father used to be at home. So that's how the days went from my class 6 to class 12. Used to
Good.
call my parents once a week. That's it. That's all
Mm.
all the communication I had, because we did not have internet, right?
Right.
And the school friends I had, they did not have phones.
Mm. True.
So after I left my town for studies, I did not get back with them. And I wish so badly that we had that thing. I mean,
Yeah.
internet,
Mm.
and then we could stay connected. But as we grew old, I remember using Facebook. Do you remember Facebook, Trisha? Are you aware of it? Are you on
Yeah,
Facebook?
yeah, yeah, I was.
Yeah, it was a sensation
Yeah, I
in our
was.
age, like when we were kids. Uh, and then it was a whole scandal. Who sent face friend request to
Oh my
whom?
God, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna put this out there, but I think our teachers used to stalk us, who's friends with whom on
Oh
Facebook.
my God.
Yeah, so I think
So
there was a
toxic.
lot of, even when we had internet, even when we had the way of communicating, it was pretty much I don't know, guarded communication
Yeah, yeah.
until I came out in the real world, right? Until I
Mm.
realized that, oh, I can talk to anyone I want, and that's okay. So that's the part of the communication I experienced. I also wrote letters, Trisha. So you were not the
I
first.
can't. I
Yeah,
can't
I
believe.
did.
I can't believe writing letters. Oh God. Wow.
Yeah, I remember my mother giving me postcards when I went to school. I used to write to her, and she used to write to me.
How
Until
sweet.
one day I realized that open postcards are being read by our
Red.
staff. Yeah, so then I started using the envelope thing.
There was no end-to-end
And
encryption.
yeah, there wasn't for sure. Now,
Yeah.
of course, there's so much. There are so many things that have changed. Even if we think about the workspace communication, right? Almost, I read a stat that almost 69% of the managers do not directly want to communicate with people,
Okay.
right? They just want to do it on emails and everything.
Email. Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's just, uh, although it has changed for better, the way we communicate, there are some, I don't know, some things we can never make up, right? But
Yeah.
then going to the bad part, instead of that, let's discuss the advantage. Let's get that out there, because we love internet, don't we?
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, so do you want to discuss the advantages? What do you think are the main advantages that you can see out there in the world because of the internet communication?
I think there are so many, but if I could start with one of the things would be it's a bit controversial one, but it would be privacy, and I'll tell you why. Like you mentioned that you realized that your postcards were being read by the authorities, right? And that's a total violation of your privacy, like completely. So as you know that I moved around a lot in the country, so we were just packing our stuff and going somewhere else, and I found a bunch of letters that my parents used to exchange right after their marriage because my mother was studying somewhere else. And me being me, I read their love letters, And I don't, and now, now, now that I think of it, it was not right, but I was a kid, right? So there was no password to that letter that I didn't know, and I had to make effort. It was just lying there, so I just read it like, it's fine. I would not get into what was in there, but
Uncle, auntie, I do not support this in any way. Just letting you know. It's just your daughter, not me. Don't hate me.
exactly. See, so I was a kid though, but I think even now I would read it. Like I would not hold myself back. But yeah, so there was not a password or anything which would open it right up and I can read it or something like that. But at the same time, yeah, I think it's like we have always talked about it. Like all the conversation data is stored with two to three big entities. They have so much power, they have everything that they want, and there's always a debate going on whether encryption is real or not, whether, like, it does happen because I don't know if it's a hell of a coincidence or what, but when we talk about something, when we text about something, we start getting ads on it. So is it private at all? Maybe it's private from our neighbors and friends, but it's definitely not private from the big strangers companies, that
You
we can
mean the
think of.
big eye that's been tracking all of us?
Yeah, exactly. So that, and of course, like it's real time and quick. It's not like you sending "I would take 15 days to reach me." You can text
But
me
it was
"Hi."
exciting, at least.
Yeah, it was almost as, oh please. It was as exciting as someone just keep typing and not sending anything and then doing backspace. I mean, can some nothing else in this universe can beat that suspense. Like that person will typing, and then the text will be just a one-liner. You know they've deleted it. You know they wanted to say something else.
Well,
But
I am guilty of doing this
it's
because,
it's so
uh,
bad, yo.
the filtered communication, you never have the right reply, do you? And then once you do send whatever, then you keep thinking, ki, oh my God, I should have
Hmm.
written that. So I think that's the thing about the whole being quick with communication thing.
You're right. Actually, let's touch base on what you have said, that filtered communication. Now, uh, there's now an option to even delete messages on Instagram and WhatsApp. Right? Earlier was not there when it had recently come. So, what is your opinion on unfiltered, being unfiltered on social media and on WhatsApp, talking to your friends? What is your opinion on that?
Well, I think with the idea of being able to delete the messages or unsend something
Hmm.
comes, I think that also helps us just write whatever we want. It's
Hmm.
a good
True.
thing in one way, but then
Hmm.
if you go, the stress of just seeing the message. Anyways, when we see a deleted message, what do we think? We think, oh, they must have written something they really wanted to say, but they've
True.
deleted it. And
Yeah.
that, from the receiver's end and from the sender's end, it's kind of emotional chaos movement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that brings us to the next part, that is filtered communication. That is, you were saying that, oh, we keep typing, and then
Yeah.
that's because we keep thinking, ki, oh, this is not the right reply. We should be,
Hmm.
we are not expressing our opinion exactly because we
Exactly.
know it's gonna take another minute, and that's fine. I'll just keep backspacing. So is it easy to communicate on these platforms? I think it's in a way it's contributing to our stress and anxiety, isn't it?
I think definitely through, I think everybody would relate to this one part, how we all have misinterpreted the tone of the text,
Ah,
right?
Fair.
All of us have experienced that. Like, I say something and you misinterpret the tone, and you're like, "Oh, stop being angry." I'm like, "No, I was still laughing, and like while typing, I was laughing." So until and
Yeah.
unless you use an emoji, the
Mm-hmm.
the text is open to interpretation, and
Yes.
that is definitely due to the lack of understanding of body language which we have in person,
Mm.
right? Like when we are in person, we know what the other person is saying. If their vibe is sad, if they need something, I can easily be crying and put a laughing emoji and tell you it's all chill, right?
I mean, we've done it,
Yeah,
haven't
I
we, Trish?
think,
Yeah.
yeah, of course. But in person, you would see my swollen eyes, right? Even at, maybe I'm trying my
Mm.
best to hide, but you'd see something's wrong with me. My skin color is dull. You can see my swollen eyes and things like that. So definitely, it's not an unfiltered conversation on WhatsApp or
Yeah.
Instagram. As a matter of fact, you've brought up a very nice point regarding that. But how do you think that now there is a wave of activism, right, which is taking place, and people are communicating their thoughts, their ideas. Do you think that is unfiltered on social media?
Well, social media is considered an agent of free speech, right? Because if we look back, every medium that has limited reach to the audience was controlled by one or other entity, right? So if you think about newspaper, it could easily be banned. If you think about the activism through books or speeches, it could easily be banned. But now, if you are going to ban the tweets or if you are going to ban the Instagram post, it's already has this bigger reach before it is taken off. So I think in
True,
a way, activism has reached to this unfiltered stage, which is a good thing, as you could see what it did for Iran, what it did for different communities throughout the
definitely,
world, right? So I
definitely.
think it is unfiltered, but then the power of being viral, should everyone has should everyone have equal access to that power? Because as easily as a sentence about condition of some oppressed communities go out, it goes out as fast as any meme that can hurt somebody else, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
so that even if you take an example of how Elon Musk one tweet can change the whole complete market, or
I
we take an
know.
example to the moon, right? Have you heard of that,
Yeah, oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it can become anything. We
It can
have this
become a
sense.
song.
Yeah, it can become a song, it can become a stock market, pivot point. It can
Yeah,
also become a viral reel on some other platform like TikTok or
right.
something.
True, true,
So
true.
where do we draw that line about unfiltered mass communication?
I think carrying on your example, like it goes viral with more speed than it is than the time taken to get it down from all
Mm.
the social media sites. Like one example is how recently Balenciaga posted they wanted to convey the message for against child trafficking and sexual assault. But for all those who haven't seen that post, but they showed children in handcuffs and with sex toys and everything, even though they were trying to communicate something else. But the whole graphical representation of it went in a very wrong way. Now, that, like you said, hurt a lot of people's sentiments. That it's not a topic you can joke around. You can't make a child pose like that because they don't know what it means, right? So it did hurt a lot of sentiments, but by the time it was taken down from social media and an apology was issued by the company, the post was viral. There were 100 screenshots of it, there were reels made on it. So the whole point of taking it down did not succeed because the post was there. It was
Yeah.
everywhere. The post had to hurt people, and it did. Nobody was saved from it. Of course, the company received a lot of backlash, but at the same time, there were a lot of people hurt by those things, right? So, and okay, so this is something that I was talking on a very large scale, like a company as big as
Mm.
Balenciaga. But coming to something very small, very individual. So, I am a COVID graduate, right? I graduated in
Mm.
2021. So, my last year was completely online, like full online education on Zoom. And at that time, there were meme pages which would post funny anecdotes of Zoom classes. And it went from some girl not turning off her mic and telling her friend about some gossip to a teacher's wife and her family not knowing his camera is on and carrying on with the day. And a meme was made out of literally everyone's personal life. I mean, I know that for a lot of you guys, few names are ringing, ki, yeah, that video call went viral and things like that. I don't want to name, but yeah. So this is what happened. Now, it was funny to me, to you, to the other people, but do you think it was that big of a deal that it went viral just because they were doing something which was very normal? It just went viral, and I'm sure to a certain point, it did have a negative impact on their life because everybody knew, right?
Definitely.
Everybody knew. It was not just a college gossip anymore. Everybody on the internet knew. Like you said, the reach is so high.
Mm.
So, like you said, the unfiltered conversation, the viral content has to be definitely be monitored by the two to three giants that we often talk about. You know, if the post is at the expense of someone's privacy, I'm sure nobody consented to their video call getting viral, where they are not looking or acting the best version of themselves. So, if
Mm.
there's a report that, oh, this is me and I don't want this up here, it should be taken on as a priority. Because I remember, like, when I was working, we worked on a case on cyberbullying,
Mm.
and there was a page created of this very sweet teenager boy. And there were so many pages, and there was such harsh content made on him, like from portraying that he's making fun of the people falling off from the plane in Afghanistan, to everything. Anything offensive that you can think of was on that page, right? But it took us 3 months to get their attention to ban that page, right? And just imagine the hell that child had gone through for those 3 months. So definitely, it has to be monitored. Getting a content viral because, oh, I'm dancing well and I am promoting a product, well and good. Celebrities do it, well and good. But when it comes to such personal things, be it from a company taking a stand in a negative sense for something as human trafficking, or these personal examples that I just gave you of Zoom calls and that boy, it has to be so sincerely monitored to make sure that nobody gets hurt, right? What has been your experience with this?
Well, I think you touched very important points because, again, if we think about the conversation where about the monitoring the content, right?
Right,
So that means there has to be some kind of system to monitor everything, to filter
right,
through everything.
right,
Now there again be some partition of, about the opinion about going through everything all day at once, because that also means it's going to monitor our behavior online. And
true,
no offense to anyone, but I wouldn't say there are so selfless entity out there which will just monitor and not try to benefit off of
benefit.
it.
True, very true.
So So there's this again a topic about digital ethics that
Yeah.
we'd have to go deeper into, and again we'll talk more about it. But then what we did not know until now is how it's going to affect our mental health and even our daily lives. Uh,
True.
it's a joke that people think that, oh, I have to take 72 selfies to just get one right.
Yeah.
But it's not how it's supposed to be, right, Trisha? I
Definitely.
mean, 72 is
Definitely.
definitely too much.
Definitely. You're absolutely right about that. I mean, it it has its own fair share of chaos also, like we talked about,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, what is it for you? Is digital communication a chaos or a relief for Yogita Patil?
Well, well, if I had to reach someone very urgently about that email mess they have made, I think it's definitely a relief. I cannot wait for another pigeon to get out in the world and deliver that message.
For sure.
It is. I think it is a relief because if I list down the advantage, we have the convenience
Hmm.
of sending out message to anyone at any point. We also have the ease of messaging. I don't
Hmm.
have to fill up the ink bottle every time I want to write something, which is
Yeah.
thank God, right?
Yeah.
And then we also have time that has been saved because of the
Definitely.
endless solutions. So I think we can just go on and talk about the advantage, but what we are going to bring to this table is a different perspective, right?
Of course.
So having ease of access means anyone can reach out to you anytime,
Time.
even when you're not ready.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah,
true.
so and being social is the new living.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't just put out a status that, oh, nobody can talk to me for
Yeah.
next 7 days except you. I mean, that would be criminal at this point. So that I think that ease of access is hampering us as much as it's helping us in our daily lives. Wouldn't you say so?
That's very true. And since it's so easy, like uh, just texting and being in touch, that I can't believe that I'm saying this, but there's a lot of pressure to be in touch. You know,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
a lot of pressure. Like, okay, you move away countries, you're dealing with your own life, trying to find yourself. But somebody can complain, oh, but you could have just texted how I was, yeah. You could have just you could have just texted me, just call once a week. And maybe people, even though there's access, of course, but but having access, like you said, is not directly related to your mental and emotional availability at all times,
yeah.
right? But
Correct.
but having that access is mistaken to be as that. So
Yeah.
definitely, I think you are absolutely right about that. And I think we are now in a stage where we need to create certain boundaries, right?
Mm.
Digitally also, we need to respect
Yeah,
people's
yeah,
time and time
definitely.
zones also at times. So that is definitely there. So, reaching to the end of the episode, kind of getting all things into a nutshell, what does digital communication mean to you?
Well, let's think about this world from 12 years old Yog, right? So I remember her just sitting on weekdays thinking, can't wait for the weekend to just, call my mother and tell her how much I want to come home and how much the food
Oh,
sucks. Yeah, so I think if I think from her perspective, it's the best thing that could happen to me. I can just wake up and I can pick up the call and then just call my mother and tell her how much I miss her. Although I don't do it somehow because again, I've heard
auntie,
this
if you're
saying that
watching this, she misses you
I,
a lot.
I do, but that's the thing. I think we are at a stage where everything is available to us, but just because it is available, we don't do it. Like I miss a lot of people every day. I just think about then I think about good memories I have with them. But
Yeah.
knowing that, oh, I can call them later, I can text
Hmm.
them later, anytime I want. It just makes it harder for me to
Harder.
express it. And I don't know if it makes sense to you guys. I mean,
No,
I
it
hope it
does.
does.
No,
Yeah.
no, it does.
So I think in a way, I think this is the best thing that could happen to me. And in a way, it's somehow not the best thing that has happened to me.
No, actually, it makes complete sense. It's because we always think that there's no rush and
Mm,
everything is available at our own dispense and things like that. But it takes it, it takes a lot of time and maturity to realize it's not like that. So,
yes, that's
so with that very deep thought, we would like to come to an end of this episode where we very freely discussed how digital communication and conversations are at times filtered and may hurt a lot of people's sentiments. And
yeah,
so, a very genuine appeal to everyone, be kind because it's very easy to bring someone down and extremely difficult to pump someone up. But that's what makes us
yeah,
human, right?
yeah. Especially with the comments, guys. I mean, it's very
Uh,
easy to put that comment out there.
I
But
swear.
yeah, take a pause.
Yes.
That's what I keep telling Trisha. I mean,
Yes, because I put hate comments. No, guys, I put only supportive comments.
yeah, she does. She does. She is a, what is that thing?
It's a heart.
How is that a,
See,
what?
that's why, guys, we are generations apart because she doesn't know that this is a heart.
Is this gonna cost me, Trisha? Can I take
Every,
it back? I know it's
everyone who knows this is art, please comment heart so that she
just
knows
hard.
that everybody knows. Yeah, just a heart so that everybody, like, she
Yeah.
knows that it's a thing.
I think, yeah, I should be. Everything that you hear out there in the world, guys, be skeptical. Is it a hard? You never know.
I think life has given us enough trust issues to have trust issues regarding this stupid heart also. But yeah, makes sense, yo. Makes sense.
Good one. With that, we come to the end of the podcast. Anything to add here, Trisha? How about
No.
we put out this question for our audience that what does digital communication mean to you? Does it sound like a concept of unfiltered conversation, or is it is there a big eye out there watching all of our conversations? What do you think?
I
Let
think
us
that's a great
know.
question.
Yeah, I think that too.
खत्म
All
कर
right,
ले
with that, uh, leaving you with that, I think a
Okay.
beautiful weekend.